thing we've learned after doing the brew for all these years is besides talking about booze, you guys like talking about food. Well, we got one for you this time. The question we put out to you in social media this week is, when you're eating in a restaurant and you're getting up to leave, do you clean up your table? Do you clean up your own mess? Or do you leave the whole mess behind for your server? That's the question we put out on social media. And once again, I think we got a record number of answers. We got a whole stack there. Some of those are getting bounced to the bottom of the screen because we appreciate your comments. Joel and I have our stories. I'm going to share it in just a second. But Joel, over to you, live in Vegas. What do you do when you get to leave a restaurant? Do you clean up your own mess?
Yeah, pretty much for the most part. Even if it's at like just a little, like sitting at like one of those little poker bars, I always push everything forwards so they can they don't have to reach all the way over the bar. I try and like scoop up anything that's left over, drop it in like the little tray or on the plate. Just make sure it's easy for them to pick up. It's the right thing to do.
Let me just tell you how much I love sitting at those poker bars in Vegas. You know that. But
yes.
Absolutely. Do I clean up after myself at a restaurant? Yes, I do. For the two reasons. A, I want to make it easy for the server, but B, I want to make sure they know that I'm done with my meal. I'm complete. So what I do is I put my silverware on the plate, and then I put my napkin on top of that. And then if I have to, I'll stack and put other things in order together. Nicole Pipitone agrees with me. She says, I always clean up and stack plates and put all the silverware together. That way, when it's all in like one big pile, they can come and take it, give me the tab, give me the check, and I'm out of there, and we're all good, and they can turn over the table for their next patron. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit common courtesy, but sometimes, Joel, I think that maybe some of us don't respect servers in that way. Like, they forget about the courtesy factor.
Right. They're human beings, too. And it's a tough job.
It is a tough job, and you're right. We're all human beings here. So what do you guys do? You have a ton of answers on this one, so let's find out right now. Rock for Guitar says, what? Am I a slob? Bob Mashanky says, if I'm with my family, yes. Beth Lickenfells, yes, we usually do because we have a messy 5-year-old and feel bad for the busser waitress. Now that is the one thing too, like if you've got a table full of kids, like you gotta make sure you at least somehow like put that mess all in like one big pile instead of just leaving it all over. Like that's tough.
Fully agree. Or you need like you give a tip that offsets that extra work.
That's right. There you go. Increase your tip. That's a good answer. I like that. Let's see if some of you have some more good answers. I bet you do, because Oilers John says, I stack all the utensil and napkins in the plate. I also clean up any mess in the table. Just because you're paying for food doesn't mean that you need to be a slob. And that goes right back there, Joel, with your comment about upping your tip then. And I agree with Oilers John. Like, it doesn't entitle you to be a slob.
Correct.
Speaking of correct, more of your comments right now because Farm Gal 39 says, I do. It's the OCD in me. J City picks, yes, always, especially pizza places. Oh, you definitely make a mess there. Jason comments, yes, we're living in a society here. And Tom comments, I usually lick the table clean of all crumbs and droppings, but that's just me. Tom is also signing himself up to make sure he certainly gets himself a case of the coronavirus.
I was going to say, he's on Crispin duty then.
You had to bring the dog into it. There you go. More of your comments right now. The Really Mad Treat says, yes, I do. I worked in a restaurant for 5 years. I try to do everything I can to help them out, including cleaning up the area when I'm through eating. Larry Mock also comments, as an ex-waiter, I try my best to stack and clean crazy messes. And Lucy Booze, she says, servers and bartenders know the deal. I think that comes back to if you are a server and a bartender, I bet you are more likely to clean up your table because it's almost like a professional courtesy to your fellow coworker.
You know the struggle.
And I saved Ollie's comment for last just because it's the piece of comedy for the show, and here we go. He says, sometimes, I once helped drunkenly clean up the restaurant car on an Amtrak train. That must have been one hell of an Amtrak ride for Ollie.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, seriously, though, on an Amtrak train, like, the food and booze is not bad. You can get food and booze on an Amtrak train. The price is pretty reasonable. It's like $6 for a can of beer. Not too bad, so I got to give Amtrak points for that. But let's get to the poll right now. So here's the question. Do you guys clean up, do you tidy up your table before leaving a restaurant? Very nice on all of you. 82% of you said absolutely you don't. 18% of you said no. 82% of you are nice human beings. It's nice to see as a society that, hey, there's still some nice people out there.
Yeah, 18% of you are dicks.
I knew you were going to tear them down. Hey, well, we want to be nice, though? Click that like, subscribe button down below for all the big web shows right here on the Jersey Joe 50 YouTube channel. Lots of fun going on each week. 4 big web shows waiting for you. And you don't have to clean up after your mess there because I've already done it for you. Unless you spilled stuff on your keyboard, in which case I can't help you out there. But you want to make sure you have some fun. Joel, did you ever do that? Did you ever spill stuff on your keyboard when you were watching shows?
I don't know if that's the best way to put it. Spill.
Just a side note from like last year, right before we went on the air to one of these shows, I had my beverage here at the bar as I always do, and I knocked the damn thing over and it like fell on the light here on the floor. So there's one show I did where there's like all this stuff on the floor you guys can't see, and I had to clean up after my own mess. See, look what I did there with the transition. But hey, Jersey Joe here, Eye in the Box over there saying thanks for watching, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time, I hope.